In a strange and sad twist of fate, Tatami arrives in theaters as Israel and Iran are engaged in armed struggle. And yet, this film, the first to be co-directed by an Iranian and Israeli filmmaker, makes the compelling point that we as individuals are not bound by the political positions of our rulers. Tatami, co-directed by Zar Amir and Guy Nattiv, follows the story of Layla, an Iranian judo athlete who's forced into a compromising situation. When she's told by government officials that she should pull out of a world championship competition by faking an injury so as to avoid facing an Israeli rival in the final round. With the clock ticking, we see how pressure is applied to Layla, her family, and her coach, and the moral decay that happens when individual expression is crushed by autocratic control. Beautifully shot in black and white, the film features a fierce lead performance by Arienne Mandi as Layla, and co-director Zar Amir, a winner of the Best Actress prize at Cannes for her role in The Holy Spider, is also luminous in the role of Layla's coach. Our conversation with Zar Amir and Guy Nattiv was cut short by technical difficulties, but we wanted to share what we could of our conversation about this important film on Inside the Art House, starting now.
Hi, I'm Greg Lumley.
And I'm Raphael Sparge.
Today, we're joined by the filmmakers, the co-directors of the film Tatami. We have with us Guy Nattiv and Zar Amir. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
I love this movie, and I know we've had a lot of back and forth in terms of trying to figure this out schedule-wise and technically, but I'm thrilled that you're finally here because I really love this movie. And I wonder if you could just sort of start with talking about how your partnership came together, because it's really sort of unusual not just to have co-directors, but also then, Zar, you're starring in the movie. You were also the casting director and a producer, and the collaboration is really kind of amazing and unique. And I wonder if you could sort of explain that and how that came to be.
Idea comes from Guy when during pandemic, he reads an article about Said Mollai, one of the Iranian judokas, and this Israeli judoka,
Sagimuki.
Said got into the same situation, and so the whole inspiration come from Said, but we have a long list of athletes who got into the same situation, and Guy starts to write it, and then because it's mostly Iranian story, so he opens himself to Iranian talents, and he get into contact with Elham Erfani, who is our co-writer. I got this offer to play this character from Guy, and then I read the script, and so we had lots of discussions, specifically for this character, I had kind of concerns and idea to how make it deeper. And so, we started to have kind of hours and hours discussions, and we met each other in LA. And because I did the casting for Holy Spider, so Guy asked me to do the rest of the casting. Arienne Mandi was already attached to the project. And one day, Guy, in a very generous way, he offered me this collaboration to co-direct a movie together. That was the time, as an actress, so everything was for me like fabulous. I knew from the beginning that this story has to be told, but it's not easy to co-direct a movie. We all have our egos, and we didn't know really each other. So I took my time to really make my mind clear what I'm doing and where we go with Guy. Especially artistically. And once, I just felt that we are on the same page about everything, politically, artistically, cinematic. And I'm so happy that we did it. It went so smooth. We never got in conflict, obviously there were years that we were not agree, both of us, but like in a very smooth, very, very respectful, we always heard each other, we managed to get at the same point, to the same point. And it happened in this way.
The film has a very distinctive visual style. Was that something that you jointly arrived at, or was there sort of a separation of responsibilities in terms of directing versus, visual versus working with actors, for instance?
From very beginning, Guy had a really clear vision about this movie. I remember when he started to talk about the movie and how he sees the movie was there already for him. So I have to say, technically, Guy was really aware he knew what he wants to do. And maybe I joined him more in terms of authenticity and performances, script-wise, we kind of separated our work on the set too. I was concentrated on everything on the set. Guy was very concentrated behind the camera on technical aspects. But then, in editing room, we were together, and during the shooting too, we watched everything together, and, it was a fusion anyway.
The black and white choice and the way it's shot, is that sort of is it an homage to Raging Bull? I mean, or was that an inspiration as well?
Thank you for acknowledging that. It's actually, I don't know if you know, but Kurosawa, first debut film, was about judoka. And it was black and white and kind of like inspired us a lot. And it also homage to the Alphaville's of the world, the parallax view of the world, the paranoia films from the 70s, you know what I mean? So it had this black and white and this very specific palette and how they use the light that gave you another layer to the paranoia. And we shot it in a box, like the tatami. Tatami is a box. So we shot it kind of in a box to give you the sense of claustrophobic, and there's no way out. There's no way. It's kind of a maze that you cannot really escape. More than that, I think that both of us felt that the women of Iran are living in a black and white world. That they cannot just wear whatever they want to wear. They cannot sing in the streets just like that. They cannot just go to the beach and just with their bathing suits, right? And they cannot go to football matches. It's only for men. It's like a black and white world. It's a world of yes or no. There's nothing in between. So we felt that's their world. And that's why at the end of the movie, the ratio opens up a little bit so you could breathe, because now she's a free woman. Now she can choose who she is.
But, even I think aesthetically, this black and white choice brought much more intensity to the story. It's a very intense story. It happens only 24 hours. We are in this Sovietic stadium, it's so intense, everything, even the performance. And, in terms of performance, especially, I had this thought from the beginning, how can we arrange the performance in a black and white picture, And more, I think we found it more authentic for this movie.
Yeah, it really does capture the kind of that caged feeling that you talk about. I know that you've been doing this for a while. It opened at Venice. You've been at Tokyo. You've been at Munich Film Festival. You've sort of been kind of a bit of everywhere. So this is obviously and timed in a way to another time. But I can't, honestly, I can't help but sort of, as we're facing kind of complicated political things in the U.S. now, and a different political environment that this arrives into in the U.S. I guess I wonder if you could sort of speak to, how that's affecting your experience of the film, or the audiences are experiencing it, because it feels timely in a whole other kind of way.
You know what it emphasized for us? It's not about the government, it's about the people. The people are not their governments. And you can see that in every place in the world, even in Israel, by the way. Most people do not like government, do not agree with what the government is doing, right? In Iran, the people of Iran, they love the people of Israel. There's a camaraderie between the people. The governments are the one that toxicating and injecting this poison. You know what I mean? But if you talk about the people, we don't have any problem with each other. You know what I mean? It's just emphasizing to us that from the moment that we shot the film till now that the film comes out, the world just lost its mind.
Yeah, and authoritarian regimes are being discussed sort of everywhere.
Taking over the people and life. And look at what happened in Israel. I left Israel like 15 years ago, and I left a country that was in a problematic situation. But now the government is taking over the judicial system and taking over art and taking over so many things. And look what happened in Argentina, in Hungary, in Poland. You know, it's not only one country. So this film is actually not only about Iran. It's about the world we live in. And you touched, you know, I moved to the States thinking that the States is a very safe and open place for me, right? But look what's happened now. It's like insane.
It's like a handbook. Essentially, they're just sort of checking off the things that
It's like
authoritarian
1939 again, right?
The performances are incredible. It's astoundingly shot. It is a black and white film, primarily in Farsi, and it is so of the moment and so relevant, both to, you know, women's ability to be heard, to be seen, and to live in a world that is allows them to kind of have an equal status. And here we are in America. It couldn't be more relevant as far as I'm concerned, and why you know, it was particularly exciting to watch.
And you know where we saw it, and I'm sure Zar can. So when we screened it in Italy, Italian women feel very degraded by men, and they felt, and there's a lot of wave right now in Italy of female voice. I think there's another movie in black and white in Italy that was a massive success. They're called There Will Be Tomorrow or something like that.
Yes.
But a lot of Italian women felt very close to this film, not by the Iranian topic, but the freedom of a woman and choosing her own destiny and her own freedom. You know?
Yeah, but you know, at some point for me, after having all these screenings everywhere, especially in Europe, I feel, you know, when I meet the audience and they get so emotional watching the movie, women and men everywhere. You know, last night I just started, you know, it's all about surviving. And as you said, it's timeless. It's really relevant. You know, it's about today of this world. And we all try to survive in a way. Mm-hmm. And that's you know, that's the way people, they connect really to to characters and to the whole story.
1,000%. 1,000%.
But I guess Raphael and Greg, you were right by emphasizing, look what happens in the state right now, right? The state that in 2019, it was a completely different country.
Completely different country. Right.
I mean, started like our journey and we don't even recognize where we are anymore.
Right, right. And again, why this film feels so even that much more timely and important.
And yet perhaps timeless, because as you say, you know, it's not about countries at some level. It, you know, it does come through that it's about the individual. And yes, you know, the challenge, you know, the individual, their families, the things they have to sacrifice, the things their family sacrifice for them, is also just a incredibly well-edited and well-paced film, which features, you know, an amazing lead performance, and of course, your supporting performance as well. I mean, the interaction between these two women and what happens on screen. It's a sports movie.
I mean, thank you for saying that. Yuval Or, who edited also Skin the Short, and you know, he's a managing editor, and he edited this film with us, all of us. So it's a labor of love, and we just poured our soul into that because we didn't have a lot of money, you know. But we did shoot in Georgia, in Tbilisi. We just
it's a teamwork.
It's a teamwork. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's Tell me about Arienne Mandi.
She's amazing. I mean, I hope everyone goes to watch this movie and discover this amazing talent. She's so hard worker. I mean, I was really blown away by the way, just watching her, how she works 24 hours and non-stop. And she was very open from the beginning to any comments, any concern, any critic, you know, everything. And, you know, she's coming from box, so physically she was so ready, but she got 3-4 months of judo training.
3 or 4 months. Okay.
You know, we had this double for her in case she needs, but she never needed. She did all these fights herself, and all those Georgian opponents, they were real Georgian judokas, and you know, everyone was so surprised with her. I mean, that's about judo. And then she grew up in LA. She's not Persian language native from her father, you know, from a mother. I mean, Farsi, it's not her mother language.
It's not her native tongue. Yeah.
So she needed work on her accent,
Oh my God.
attitude, on her body language, and there were moments on the set during the shoot, I had to just stop everything, and I was just, she was in emotion in the middle of fight, and I was just like, no, please remember, in Iran we don't do this, but she was just like, oh yeah, okay, go again. No, just non-stop. She was just trying. She had challenges to deal with, and amazing. She's wonderful.
I wish you would speak to her, because she amazed us from the audition. From the first audition, we knew that she's the one.
Her face, her eyes, just her ability. I mean, look, let me just say to Zar, both of you are astounding. And just because you're here for a second, let me just sort of say your performance is, it's so nuanced and so layered. And at every moment, just your life and what you were coming from, I could just see it and felt it. And it was astounding, not just because of your work as an actress, but then also then to be obviously coordinating with the other actors, sort of being kind of in a sort of sense, a sort of a standard holder for Farsi and for as making sure that everything really hits a mark of integrity for the people that you're trying to represent, and in this case, to be able to sort of do your performance at the same time. It's just incredible. It's just incredible what you did.
Yeah. It's again a teamwork. I think I was really surrounded by great actors, and they were all there to make it happen in the best way and authentic way as Arienne. And this relationship between me and Arienne, it happened in a very organic way from the first moment we met each other. And it's funny because I was sometimes her director, sometimes her coach, and I was so inspired by her, but by the person she is, and by, as in the movie, when Mariam was so inspired by Layla. So there was something very organic between us, which I think it helped a lot to bring this performance, to create.
That's so interesting that you as a coach, of course, for her in the film, and then you as a coach and as the characters, it sort of it fed into sort of what we saw. The way in which you shot the judo sequences. Do you know judo? Are you a martial artist? How did you come to be able to kind of figure that out?
Well, you have to know that in Iran and in Israel and all of Europe, judo is like wrestling for the Americans. So it's very, very popular. I think that both countries are winning more medals in judo than in other sports. So for us, it's like very popular. Every kid who's like 4 or 5 start judo practice. It's like Karate Kid. We all grew on Karate Kid, right? So for us, it's Judo Kid. So I was very I understood judo from all the competitions and everything, and I was inspired by this Japanese sport that it's all about honoring your opponent and not hating your opponent, because you have to bow. And even after you lose, you're bowing, right? So it's a Japanese code of behaving, which is the opposite of what the countries are doing to each other. It always fascinated me. As a kid, I went to judo practice, of course, but I didn't proceed with it. But it really fascinated me in a cinematic way, because it's almost like 2 scorpions moving in a fight, right? It's very kind of like, there's almost like a dance. And I always wanted to crack it in a cinematic way, which I saw in many other films.
Yeah, because each fight has its own unique sort of visual style. Right. The way you play with it, where you come in. Think of it, and it's obvious that there's not a double, because I was looking for that, and it was clear that she was doing this again. But your ability to kind of keep us sort of really on the edge of our seats visually was.
Think of it as like
judo, so I guess that's how you were able to kind of really.
Have you seen Foxcatcher?
Yes.
So you remember all the wrestling scenes?
Yeah.
So beautifully shot, right?
Yes.
And I saw it as something very similar in a way that we have this, and obviously Raging Bull for me, it's like the masterpiece of like masterpieces. So how he danced with his characters.
We apologize that the tail of our conversation with Zar Amir and Guy Nattiv was cut off due to technical difficulties. The film is currently playing at the IFC Center in New York, where it opened on June 13th. The film opens at the Royal Theater in West LA on June 20th, and then expands to more theaters around the U.S. through June and July. For more information on when and where the film will be opening near you, go to TATAMImovie.com. Our show was produced by Raphael Sparge with on-site producer Norrin Dickerson. Supervising producers are Thomas Cassetta and Miles McCreary. Our show was edited by Gabriel Emley and sound mixed by Thomas Cassetta. Our musical theme was composed by Isabel Engman and Gerardo Garcia Jr. Marketing by Gabriel Emley. Show graphics by Jenna DeAngelis. Additional marketing and web design by Stephanie Peters. Filmed at the historic Laemmle Royal Theater in Los Angeles, California. See you next time on Inside the Art House. If you like today's show, please consider subscribing to our channel to learn more on Inside the Art House.